Welcome to Northern Ireland. I would say we're in Belfast because we flew into Belfast, but the airport is like 20 miles outside of Belfast, and we're not heading there directly. We are heading up to the coast.
Our first stop was the medieval Dunluce Castle, first home to the McQuillan family and later occupied by Clan MacDonald. Surrounded by sheer cliff drop-offs on every side, it's a stunning location.
So the earliest parts of the castle were built before this, but in the 16th century, the MacDonald clan from Scotland came over and took over, and one of the things that they did is they built this beautiful Jacobean manor house that we're standing in right now. It's not in great shape, but you can kind of get a feel for what it must have been like before. Might have been less windy when it had walls.
Our next stop is the Giants Causeway. This is a heck of a gift shop for a natural geologic formation, but this is also the location where you can get your super helpful audio guide.
So the audio guide here is packed with information. And the whole time you're walking down the causeway, you learn about what you're seeing. The origin of these stones is explained in one of the stories in the audio guide. You might have heard geologists refer to this as columnar basalt or something like that. Ignore all that. These stones were put together by a giant, an Irish giant by the name of Finn, who had a disagreement with a Scottish giant across the way. He built the causeway to go over and pick a fight. When he got there and saw the size of the Scottish giant, he thought better of it, ran back to Ireland, said to his wife, "I gotta hide. This is a crazy big giant." She said, "Why don't you just pretend to be a baby, climb in bed, and when he gets here, we'll say it's just the baby." So she does that. The Scottish giant comes over, knocks on the door, says, "Hey, I'm looking for a giant." And she says, "My husband's out right now, but you can meet our baby if you want." Scottish giant looks at Finn, who's pretending to be a baby, and is like, "My God, if this is the baby, I can't imagine how huge the father is." And so he turned tail and ran back to Scotland and destroyed the causeway en route. And the remnants is what you see here is all that's left. That's why we can't walk over to Scotland on it right now. On our way to the coast, we stopped for lunch in Bushmills, where they have, according to their website, the oldest licensed distillery on Earth, established in 1608. It's famously old. And history buffs as we are, can't miss it. The spur of the moment, we decided to sign up for a tour. Can't take any videos inside the buildings, so this is it. The old warehouse. And over there where you can't really see it is the water intake, I think. So in Belfast tonight, we're staying in the hotel across the street there, the Europa, which is famous not just for a long list of celebrities and important politicians who've stayed there, but also for the fact that it was a frequent target during the Troubles. The hotel was bombed more than 30 times, and as such is probably the most bombed hotel in the world. Partially due to this difficult past, the hotel is now considered something of an icon of peace in Northern Ireland.
Our second day started with a city tour of Belfast, led by a tour guide named Anne that we found through the website Tours by Locals. Our first stop is City Hall, where the town's titanic history is on dramatic display. This window serves as a reminder of the potato famine in the 1840s and 50s. Out front, sculptures celebrate luminaries including abolitionist Mary Ann McCracken.
Yeah.
In an old working-class Catholic neighborhood near the headquarters of Sinn Féin, we find well-maintained memorials to veterans of the terrible years euphemistically called the Troubles, and nearby, art-covered peace walls still separate the segregated neighborhoods. The Irish nationalist side draws ties to Gaza and the struggles of minority communities worldwide. Old troublesome divides remain, and these massive gates, separating the nationalist and loyalist neighborhoods, are still closed and locked at night. Loyalist art reminds us of Guinness, peace, and British military glory.
Look at this.
This is the barrel here.
Oh, yeah.
After wrapping up the tour, we set out on foot to the famous Titanic Museum. Housed in this massive building, the Titanic Museum tells the story of the great ship with a focus on its construction, which of course took place here in Belfast.
That's the mark of the White Star Line. Where we live.
A fanciful ride takes you on an imaginary journey through the shipyard where people were building the Titanic itself. And a room at the end provides a moving experience going from the heady optimism of the ship's construction into its final dark, cold night. Our last day starts back in Belfast with a remarkably good cup of coffee.
That's good.
Let's head up the hill. This is a Google Maps find called the Hidden Village of Galboli or something like that. But there's this path here that goes up to it. I think it's like an old abandoned village. And that's where we're heading right now. See what it looks like.
The hidden village of Galboli saw its population decline dramatically until the mid-20th century when the last remaining people left it behind. Now, all that remains is this evocative ruin. Visitorship here has apparently gone up as it's been used as a set for a couple of TV shows, including Game of Thrones. Seemingly more intact than most of the others, this dramatic-looking little house on the edge of town appears to have been used as a set because it is largely fake. Our next stop is the Cushendon Caves outside of Ballymena, located adjacent to the sea that carved them. Then it's back on the road to Bonamargie Friary, our final stop.
We're at the ruins of an old friary, and as you can see, there's only one way in. Just like that.
So, what's Bonamargi mean?
Means the foot of the Margi, the river beside which the friary was built in around 1500.
This circular stone cross is said to be the headstone marking the grave of Julia McQuillan, who died in the 17th century, known as the Black Nun. She was said to have foretold any number of calamitous events, and her spirit is said to haunt the ruins to this day.